cannot invent and pioneer if you cannot accept failure.
We wanted people that were insanely great at what they did.
Nobody was making any money at all. Most people thought the internet was going to be a fad.
All right, so normally I do like a fancy intro. We're going to get into the intro, but I was at an event with somebody yesterday who's on the podcast. Adam, what'd you think of MicroConf yesterday? Give me your quick rundown.
I thought it was awesome. You know, these are people, I watch their YouTube content, I listen to stuff, I read the stuff they put out, and then we're just in a room with 40 other people and then, I got to go walk up to Rob Walling, I got to walk up to Rand Fishkin, ask them high level questions, and they were like, oh, do this, and this. I was like, oh my God, that's the magic right there.
I got kind of jealous because they're like, all right, break out for 7 minutes and go talk to somebody. I would like just talk to the guy next to me. You had the balls. You went straight to Rob Walling. You're like, 7 minutes, let's go. And I was trying to listen to this guy, but I was like, damn, I want to be in that conversation. Is that where you squeezed out all of the knowledge?
I was talking with other people before, but then I saw Rob was like actually participating, and I was like, I got to shoot my shot here. Let's go.
That was awesome. So for people that don't know, MicroConf, it's basically like for people that are bootstrap business owners, you're doing software. It's like Disneyland, like events where you can meet up with people. And there's two people there that, like Rob Walling, I've been listening to Startups for the Rest of Us podcast forever. And then Rand Fishkin, I freaking love his book. And so this is so dumb. Like I used to live in New York in the West Village. We'd see celebrities a decent amount. Like Brooke Shields
right?
lived around the corner. And like, I was like, oh, whatever, that's Brooke Shields. But when I walked in to the brewery and I saw Rob Walling standing there, I was like, I got nervous. And I was telling my wife beforehand, she's like, you're such a nerd.
I was fanboying. I've hung out with actual celebrities, but this was different. It was awesome.
It was so. My big takeaways were actually, well, one, you walked in late, but Rob asked a question to the audience. He goes, before I start, does anybody have a joke that they can say? And everybody just froze up like, do I say a stupid dad joke? What I say? Rand Fishkin, without hesitation, goes, I got it. And he had a monologue of like a 2-minute joke that he nailed and did well. I'm like, okay, rule number 47, always have a joke in your back pocket.
Always have a joke.
Yeah. It was maybe not a politically correct joke, but hey, it was a joke and people laughed. That was one takeaway. The second takeaway was you shooting your shot, going for it. We're going to get to it. You're so good at freaking, I hate the word networking, but we'll say relationship building. Like watching you, I got super jealous because you went straight up to the hot girl and just had mad game.
And because I think I admire you for that because you seem so dialed in. So it's interesting to get that viewpoint.
I know the grass is green on your side, my friend.
This is Zoom masturbation right now.
Oh no, but you're better. The other thing that was interesting was Rand Fishkin, how he set up SparkToro with his contracts, where I think a lot of people, when they want to raise money, are like, oh, I either get a loan for a bank or I'm a VC and I go to VC and I have to 10 exit.
Yeah.
It's like so
we
polarizing.
know people that we know friends that have raised VC money, and it's another level of pressure. I want the connections and the space and like the upside, or not even the top upside, just some upside that comes from productized service or software without that crushing pressure.
No, exactly right. And what was cool is Rand said, he's like, oh, we've published the contract we use for SparkToro. You can use it. And then Rob Walling invested. And what he's doing with Tiny Seed is a similar thing where, hey, we're not trying to be a VC where you go to the moon. Like you can raise money from us. We'll do an investment and then just pay us a dividend. Yeah. And it just makes total sense. I know we'll get into it. You've raised money for a few different things. So I know you have opinions. So those were my big takeaways. And,
also, biggest thing, when I moved to Seattle from San Diego about 4 years ago, I looked on Meetup for these kind of like startups or bootstraps or things, and it's a desert out there. I don't know if it's like the Seattle freeze or whatever, but it literally takes an outside of the city company coming in to get people out of the woodwork. And I already reached out to producer Xander to thank him for the event, but also like, hey, could you put us all in like a Slack group? To like, there were some really cool people in that room that like they just like disappear back in their caves after.
You know what? And I actually kind of felt that because we were sitting at that picnic table having some really nice sliders and tacos and some hazy IPAs.
Great food,
Great food, great spread.
best
Good,
food.
good
Yeah,
job,
great
Rob
spread.
and producer Xander. Yeah, Matt, like I got that guy we're sitting next to, Matt, who was in YC. He was super cool, and it was fun. It wasn't a lot of flexing, like, oh, how big's your thing? It's like, oh, this is really hard, and that part was cool. Anyway, I
Yeah.
want to talk about you, but I wanted to get your
There we
quick
go. Let's
recap
do it.
on the event. So I thought
Awesome
it was
event.
cool.
Can't wait.
Oh,
Please come back,
yeah.
Microcom.
Yeah. The one last comment when I was like, "Hey, what time are you gonna show up?" You're like, "Oh, I'm gonna take the bike. I'll get there at 3:10." I was literally about to get an Uber. I was like, "Nope, I gotta take the rad." And so there it is.
We don't have that many more good days left
Good rad days. Yep. So
before
I
the
should probably
great.
introduce you, but so introduce yourself. Do it in under 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All right. Adam Weiler, founder of Sunken Stone. Now, by the time you listen to this, it's going to be called Implicit. And then also the founder of two softwares for Amazon sellers, Ecom 3K and Flatfile Pro.
Breaking news on the rebrand. This is
Mm-hmm.
exciting. But the way I know Adam is I look at people like not how old they are, but how old they are in founder years. Because I love finding people that are older than me in my industry in founder years. And you, my friend, are so much more
Dinosaur.
senior to me than that. And I just can't thank you enough. I've learned so much from you. You helped us get our EOS coach. It's fun to hear how your company is just taking off and what you've done. And I'm like, I'll just listen to Adam and do exactly what he says. But you've been
Underneath
so
that
helpful.
are a lot of mistakes and stupid decisions and stubbornness. So if I'm actually making the decision or like I'm confident about it, it's stress tested.
Right? Yeah. It's like, oh, it's because I made these 19 mistakes, but now I look genius doing this.
Yes.
But do you remember when we first met?
Yeah. We met in Magnolia, right? Or no, we met in Queen Anne. Yeah, at the
because
Starbucks.
I joined this entrepreneurship group. I was like, oh, which group do I own? And then I was like, oh, Adam's in this from Sunken Stone. He actually knows how to run an agency. I should try and learn from him. So yeah, we met at a really nice boutique coffee shop, Starbucks on Queen Anne Hill. And you had your stroller without a kid because you're about to go pick up your kid. You're like, let's just walk. So it's just two dudes with lattes walking around with an empty stroller. We're just walking around blocks.
Nothing
and I was
wrong
just
with
like
that.
trying to like extract out of your brain how to scale an agency. And I think
I
you're
mean,
asking me about like publishing a book.
It's
right?
always grass is greener, right? Because you like come from this like you picture of you coaching Techstars companies, and it's like, dude, this like, are you kidding me? I get to talk to Jim. Like he's got a book, and it's like the grass is always greener.
Yeah, but I want I love my CEO, but I want your COO and my CEO to have a love child that we can share. But okay, so let's go a little bit in chronological order. Like you built Sunken Stone, which is huge. It's on a tear. Like who's Adam before even being an agency owner?
Yeah. So credit card cash advance for 1,000 HDMI cables in 2007, and started selling on Amazon, and that's kicked it off. Sold on Amazon for 15 years. About 6 years ago, a company I was trying to source from, a company I was trying to buy from and make my own product from, was like, no, we're not going to sell to you, but can you help us with this Amazon channel? And I was like, I guess I can. And that was like a rocket ship. Took them from a 6-figure run rate to 8-figure run rate in 6 months. They gave me a check. They sold to private equity. They're like, have a nice day. Thank you. Good job. And I was like, there's something there. That seemed pretty easy compared to my own brands. And off to the races from that. And did the agency thing or are still doing the agency thing. That's been about 5 years now. And a lot of learnings. We've managed about 300 brands on Amazon. thousands and thousands of products, hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue through Amazon.
So basically, you started selling products and you're getting really good at selling them on Amazon. Someone won't sell to you. They're like, hey, will you just manage it? And that turns you in. It's funny because usually it's the opposite. Like it's an agency that wants to sell products. Or it's like, actually, let's go with the service based business. This seems fun and scalable, but like it has been for you. Was it always like, when did you go from a glorified freelancer or consultant to, okay, let me build a team and an agency? Because you have like 100 people
There,
now.
there is, yeah. So we've got about 30 in the U.S., about 80 internationally. Um, there was a moment, and I think every business has to have this, or at least if you're dealing with this scenario, where do you invest in COGS or inventory, or do you invest in people on the agency side? Because they both take up like about the same percentage on your profit and loss, and it's very hard to do both effectively. And you kind of have to decide. So I'm looking at it: which one do I enjoy? Which one are we better at? Which one is a higher potential here? And then decide. It's like that ikigai scenario. Like, what do we like? What are you good at? What's making you money? And yes, what's better for the world? And that then and then you can't half-ass it. We had to go all in on that.
Gotcha. So were you intentional from the start to like, because my issue, I think I really took too long of, I had, you could say I had an agency, but I was a glorified freelancer with a lot of people helping me, not until like a
That's
year
an
and a half,
agency,
2 years.
though. That's an
Yeah.
that's an agency. Well, like, it might not be a well-run agency, but it's an agency
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like what were those inflection points where you're like, oh, this took the business to the next level as far as the right people, the right systems, or niching or narrowing down? I feel like you had that from the start. But like what were those inflection points?
One of my key skills in life is not making the same mistake twice. And I'm trying to even improve that by not even having to make it once, but that's like pro level, right? Like very good level is not making the same mistake twice. So in the early days, we would come up with the system, it would break, we'd fix it, it wouldn't break. Like we were good at patching duct tape. Think like
Yeah.
our duct tape is strong, and and half of 90% is being lucky, being in the right place at the right time, right? Like we are an Amazon dedicated agency with Amazon skills in an area and in time where no one had that. So all we had to do was like be competent, and we were winning. Obviously, through the years, we've had to like continue to level up as more agencies come in the space, as more money comes in the space, but also more brands need help with it, so it kind of evens out. I think being lucky for sure. Got lucky with choosing Amazon as one of the sales channels, and then just like, oh, I'm a keyboard monkey, and I'm like learning Amazon and just leveling up there.
Gotcha. So you're really good at duct taping. Yeah, I think you're over-indexing for luck, but sure, we can act like that's it. Um, how did you think about in the early days of you're making your money through an agency versus like what should I put in my pocket? What should I invest in growth? Because
Yeah,
you had already been doing fairly well. Because I like, just not to talk about me, but I will. Like for me,
yeah.
I'm at that point where all I care about is creating an awesome, well-run machine. It's not like let me squeeze the most out so I can go buy 20 rad e-bikes and like a yacht. It's like,
Well,
no, I want this machine to just be really special.
so here, like you can call it smart or you can call it stupid, but it's one of the two, or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. In the beginning, early days, I don't know if anyone's read Richest Man in Babylon, but it's an awesome book. It's long TLDR is um, y- you have friends that are experts in their fields, like invest in them in their fields. Like don't invest in your friends if they're going into other fields. So, for instance, great college friends who are amazing at real estate, like once and amazing at real estate, invest in them when they're doing real estate deals. Don't invest in them if they're doing building software. So, anyways, early days of Amazon, I'm bringing in containerfuls of product from China. I'm bringing in containerfuls of bike locks and office supplies and HDMI cables and kind of everything. doing this out of my spare bedroom, living that. I was living that nomad lifestyle, but like from a home base in San Diego. I was still traveling a lot. I I wish I would have like done it from Bali or something. But um, my friend was doing real estate deals, and every 6 months or 8 months or a year, he would come to me and be like, "Hey, I got this awesome once in a lifetime deal. I need 50,000, 60,000, 100,000." So like, okay, cool. And I didn't understand cash flow at the time. I didn't understand that was actually sucking the lifeblood out of my business, preventing me from growing faster because I couldn't buy more inventory. I couldn't go faster. I understand those things now. Profit first. I saw Michaelowitz, right? Michaelowitz.
Mike
Um,
McCallowitz, yeah,
Mike
yeah,
McCall. I've
yeah.
seen him speak in person, and I'm like, oh fuck, I need to be doing this. Like, can we curse on this thing?
Go
Um,
for it.
all right. That's like, oh, I should have been doing that. So I wish I would have known that stuff early, but I didn't blow it on Lambos and bottle service. Like I bought real estate with it, right? It's like I've got a good foundation. And that coming from like a childhood of scarcity, like, okay, I could breathe. I've hit Maslow's hierarchy to a certain level. I'm on, let's play the game now to win and let's fucking do this.
Right, I totally agree. So I get that foundation of security where it's like you're not paycheck to paycheck or you're comfortable, whatever that is. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, now it's just a game. Like I look at
Yeah.
it as just a complete game, which is why I don't get
Which is
too
fun now.
high
It's like
level.
it's
Yeah.
like I say it's not fuck you money, but I've got no thank you money, which means like I still can't be nasty to anyone, but yeah,
Yeah.
like no thank you. I would not like to do that opportunity, and like okay, cool, on to the next thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool. So, I want to get in dog food labs, but one thing, it's been fun. Like Adam and I, we get to talk on a monthly basis with some other founders, and you've had someone come into the business that I feel like has been pretty transformative. And a lot of times, I see that like at the end of the day, businesses are a makeup of people, and the right person can have a huge impact. Can you talk about like
Yeah.
getting like a key person and what's that's done?
You know, um, so I have a board of advisors. I had a board of advisors for the agency made up of kind of smart people in adjacent industries, right? And from day one, they were harping on that I needed an experienced operator in it. It's like, yes, you've got something going with the Amazon deliverable, but you need an operator to to take this thing to the next level. And it took. I wish I could have, and I'm working on the ability to take that advice without having to experience the negative that comes with it. But I did have to go through some struggles with the agency to get to the point where I realized, oh, I need this person. Like this is a key hole in our operations. This is a key hole in our organization. And so what we were looking for is quote unquote someone who's seen the movie before. And the crazy thing is like I'm only realizing this now. Youth is wasted on the young, but like as I'm getting more mature, I realize like people have gone through these things before, and yes, like I was trying to reinvent everything. We're gonna have a unique bonus plan. We're gonna have a unique this plan, and we're gonna be unique this plan. Versus like someone solved that before. Like just I think that like have a unique Amazon deliverable and then do everything else the exact same, and then that's a winning combination. Um, I think everyone tries to get so, and I see it with young entrepreneurs, and like they try to get so creative on every single thing. It's like there's a doc out there you can just little copy and paste and use.
Really true.
But
Yeah, go
oh,
ahead.
good. But the COO. So I was like someone who's seen the movie before, someone who knows how this movie goes. He's taken a 30-person agency to 300 people, sold it to a publicly traded company, and wants to do it again, right? It's like, why am I reinventing the wheel here? And I got to tell you, however I thought it would be, it's been 100 times better. Like, it's been great cultural, great fit, great culture fit. He's grown us up as a company. Yeah, it's amazing, and we're seeing the fruits of that.
How did you find this person and how did you
Yeah.
convince them to come to you if that was even hard at all?
Find we so started with an amazing brief what we were looking for. That like when high level, like who we are to like day in the life. Like here's like a success. Here's what success looks like for me. And I put success would be me being able to go hike the John Muir Trail. Like my dream is to hike the whole PCT, but John Muir Trail is like a 30-day portion of that. And I'm actually going next week. I'm going to be on a river for 4 days out of cell phone coverage, and like our call, we check in every morning. I thanked him for that ability. Like I wouldn't have been able to do this a
Who's
year
going to
ago.
manage your tweets while you're gone, though? I'm very concerned.
My ghost tweeter, whoever. I'll have to schedule some, just like
Okay, good.
I just be ready for my. I was unplugged for 4 days post clarity, post river clarity diatribe.
Here's what I've learned. Click thread to see. Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna find some Burning Man people and then just do the same thing. But yeah, the find someone who's done it before, and then matching that up with internal talent that has the enthusiasm and wants to learn from an experience. Like that's where the magic happens, right? Like just bringing in outside people and like them telling people what to do and like shitting down everyone's stuff. It's like that's how you kill the culture. But pairing them with an internal superstars who like want to learn from a 20-year experience vet, like I think that's how you do it.
That's really good feedback, because it's one thing to find the person, but they've got to be the great culture fit, and they have to align with your leadership team so they're fired up and they're not like, well, there goes my growth. It's like, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to get into the details, but I assume getting somebody like this, they're not just working for like chips and salsa. Like you have to like
Gold
really
chips and salsa.
Yeah, you have to
Casino
take a
chips.
risk, right? On like their annual comp, and then like the equity play. Like how did you navigate that? Even know how to structure that?
Yes, this person is the highest paid person at the company. But like you will know as a founder if it's working or not in 90 days. So don't think of it as the whole, like it's not the whole salary, right? If it's not working, it's 90 days. Yes, it sets you back a little bit, but you're not out of pocket. Equity vests over time, right? And typically there's a cliff and then it vests ratably over time. So it's like if you look at the whole number, yeah, that's a huge amount if it doesn't work out. But it's really just that portion. And as a founder, you probably know in 30 days if you wanted to be really tight, like if they're a fit. And I knew immediately they were. One thing we got a daily standing call on the calendar every 5 days a week. That we keep 95% of the time. There really has to be some emergency or something. And then and then we've also been through some heartaches together or some struggles together that have pushed us together, like us fighting against a common external enemy. It's like there's nothing better for a relationship than fighting together against an external enemy. It's like we have a level of trust that would have taken 6 months. So maybe manufacture that. I don't know if there's a SaaS out there that could spin up some lawsuits and like
yeah, lawsuits and drama
drama
as a service,
on demand, drama as a service.
Drama as a service. Yeah, that's awesome. And one last question, like, because it's so interesting when you hire a senior person, it's so risky, and you're right. Within 90 days, you should know. It's like, what are those signals? Like, what were some of those things where you're like, wow, this is working? Where like, if it was the stand up or how he runs things, like what kind of knocked your socks? I feel like this is legit.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple things. Like number one, just clarity around things that were so unclear to us, or that we were spending a lot of calories and time. What should this policy be, and blah blah blah, and then he just comes in and is like, oh, we do that. It's like, oh, all right. Like it would have been like 27 meetings and hours, and then he's like, no, this is what we're doing. All right, next. And then taking a look at areas and be like, we're changing, like this is going to be this. And like for instance, so we were charging based on a percentage of revenue or a percentage of sales or percentage of ad sales or percentage of ad spend. And then he comes in and he's like, we're charging, and he's like, here's the numbers. Like for these clients, we just worked for less than minimum wage for the last 6 months, right? Like, would you like to go get a job at McDonald's? Here's what we did. Here's what we did in the last job. We're tracking our time and we're going to charge hourly, and we're going to clients are going to like the right clients are going to like that. The wrong clients are not, and they're going to self-select out. And magically, like that's what's happened. It's been a game changer. So it's like it took a couple go arounds to like for him to get me bought in. But once I was bought in, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense.
Dude, so I'm so happy for that. So amazing. And I can't wait for you to introduce me to him, to find his clone and his mini me, which seriously, you did offer that one time. I don't know if you don't remember, but I do, that we could all
The
meet.
verbal?
It's the verbal. I
Oh,
actually
yeah, yeah,
recorded
happy-
it. I recorded it.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, we can happy to
okay,
intro for
cool.
a call.
So, like most great agency owners, you have other things in mind, which is, I don't know, maybe doing something that's another company, that's a software as a service company. You have done this. You've launched 2 SaaS companies. So, but even before doing that, what is Dog Food Labs?
Yeah, and actually, by the time you're listening to this, Dog Food Labs is no more. It's another rebrand. We are officially Murder Inc.
Ooh, oh
MRRDR Inc.
wow! So many ways we could go with that.
hmm
Tell me more. How'd that name? How'd you get that? I feel like there's got to be some rapper that already has that domain. You got it?
You drop a lot of vowels, you can get anything, right? Murder Inc. is when we want to feel pumped up about software, like or MRR, monthly recurring revenue. That's our
Oh, that's
that's our
sick.
kind of go up.
Okay, well done. Okay, I finally get it. So you have, like me. It's like let's take some of the profits from the agency and let's keep playing this game of business, and let's do some investments in companies that you're starting up. So you have 2 SaaS companies.
As an ADD entrepreneur, I've got a running list of business ideas that's a mile long. And if you would have asked my old forum back in San Diego, my old EO forum, they would have said, "Oh, he's working on all of them simultaneously." I think the difference is now with age and focus, and now I've got 2 kids that are making me focus. I have no other choice but to focus. Um, that the softwares that we've selected are out of the agency, were the biggest needs that we've seen out of the agency, and that could have the biggest life outside of the agency. So if you're managing e-commerce listings, an Amazon catalog manager, that's the first one in the world that uses the API to push listings live and make edit changes there. And then an Amazon data exporter tool that's one of the first to use the API to push all your Amazon data to your Google Drive or to a database, so you can own that data and get out of the walled gardens.
Amazing. So how have you been able to take time away from, or have some free time to focus on these companies? One, and like, are you
Yeah.
leveraging like partners, co-founders, or just other freelancers to do this? Because I think that's something everybody with shiny object syndrome is like, how do I pull this off?
Yeah. So, technical co-founder on the software side. There's no way I'd be able to do it without him. That's Travis on there. A perfect example or analogy of what I oversell it, and then he's embarrassed for me overselling it, so he catches up, and then I oversell it again, and the wheel is turning. It's been really awesome. My job is butts and seats on that, and I don't even say role. I'm the non-technical co-founder. He's a technical co-founder. Take that for right. It's like I'm not the CEO. It's like 150 users are down. There's not a CEO. There's not a C-suite of that. But how have we've been able to do it? Amazing leadership team on the agency. They like when I try to get involved in the agency, they kick me out and they're like, "Stop messing with stuff. We got this." Everyone has like clear, defined roles. It's amazing. And then so incentives. I'm not like the R&D that goes into the software doesn't hit the team's bonuses, right? So it's like they're incentivized because the software is also going to be kicking over leads to the agency eventually, and it's not hurting their bonus. So it's like the incentives are aligned. If it was like taking time and money out of their pocket to make moves, there would be resentment on that, and I guarantee that. But I wanted to align everyone so like it's not hurting them, and then they're going to see deal flow coming in through referrals.
Yeah, the fact that it's connected to the agency to like help deliver value and for lead gen, that's pretty nice to have those synergies. Because yeah,
Hmm.
I struggle even with one day design where it's like the past couple days have been crazy just with growth hit stuff. So I've had to focus, and so I don't get that time for one day design. So we're really trying to figure out, okay, we need to get people to run the business so it's not just, do I have 2 hours tonight to work on like lead gen or something.
Yeah.
So I think that's impressive on how you've kind of land that plane a little bit. How's it feel to have a revenue generating SaaS company? Is the grass greener? Because you and I kind of joke where the problem with the agency, you sell and then you close the deal, they're like, oh wait, crap, I have to go do work. Where with SaaS, you close it and it's just the sweet nectar of recurring revenue starts to come in. What's it like?
It's the rushes on the initial deal. Like, we'll close a $20,000 a month deal on the agency side, and like, it's yeah, awesome. But then we close a $20 or $50 a month SaaS that like hell yeah. It's like, so the alignment is a little out there. I think it's I'm a founder. I like going 0 to 1, and then I think there are better people than me to go from 1 to 10. And I found that on the agency side, they're doing that right now. I'm going 0 to 1 on the software, and I'm getting like life enjoyment out of it. And like, my significant other is like, sweetheart, you're really charged up on this, and like is very supportive on it. And yeah, it's nice to have that feeling.
Yeah, it's like
But also with
go for it.
I think one thing too on this, the agency, like it's certain that we're going to hit our goals. Like there's like no doubt on it, and I trust the team, and we're going to deliver, and we're going to hit our goals. The software, it's like a little mysterious, and like what's the upside? Like it's is you saw Figma get acquired for what 25 times top line, right? It's like versus the agency is like, here's the path, you can be on the path. If you're very good, this is the top, and then if you're not very good, here's the bottom, and you're in the range, right? And it's like I yearning to break free. I need to like on to the next thing to go 0 to 1.
That's so interesting because it's like predictable and almost the set path. It loses some of the like, I don't know, the mystery, the excitement. Whereas I like what you're saying on like have the self awareness to know the stage that you're really good at. Where I think you and I
Hmm.
are kind of similar. Where like those stages where you need to be scrappy and go from 0 to 1 and prove something. It's hard, but it's super exciting.
Hmm.
And then that's when you can kind of graduate to have someone like your operator that's come in that's really good at that phase.
And I think they see that, like they're attracted to that one state. Like there's a baseline. They're like literally he's like, you guys got it to this level with like how shitty that everything was. Like, oh, this is gonna be cake, right? It's like they look at it, they're like, there's something there to work with. Like with you guys as an agency, like you see those products that like have that natural product market fit, and you're like, oh, you're doing 5 million with like this shitty ad. Like, just wait till we get in there. It's amazing.
It's so yeah, he was probably salivating then, like seeing some of your stuff. He's like, "Oh my god, this is a layup," right?
Yes, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
that's so cool. We need to do another episode. I need to get into your phone to see all your half baked startup ideas. That'll be a whole another conversation.
Yep.
So you like it's so funny. We'll talk, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to, you know." Aspen or whatever with this group. We're gonna go rafting. Oh, and then you have this other community that I'm in where I'm going to Vegas with them. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like everybody. You're in all these communities and groups, and here I am. I just sit behind my computer and I'm like, oh, let me write a tweet today. And
You
like,
know
oh,
more
someone liked
people
it.
than I
Well,
do,
hold on, no,
though.
I'm talking. You're not allowed to
Okay.
interrupt. But you're like Is it, have you, I don't know if it's because you were always going to conferences and that kind of like naturally made you put yourself out there. Cause I don't go to any conferences and that's a
Hmm.
problem.
Hmm.
And like, talk to me about, have you always been intentional at, like, I hate the word networking, so I won't say it, but like building relationships, putting yourself out there to have these opportunities open up. Like what can people learn from that? Because I think our business could be doing so much better if I were go like literally physically putting myself out there more. But
Yeah.
talk to me
I,
about that.
I break it up into two phases: pre-kids and post-kids, or
Yeah.
at least pre small kids and post small children. Um, Pre small children, I was lucky, and I qualified for EO, or Entrepreneurs Organization, when I was like 27, 28 years old, right? And
Awesome.
like that was a life change. Like, it's like I like snuck as soon as I got to like a million run rate. Like it wasn't a million like in previous. It was like a million run rate. Like I first $83,000 a month. Like I got it. Get me in. And then that, like, I was the stupidest guy in the room. Like it's like that or in the most inexperienced guy in the room. And like that was like, holy crap, that was a learning. I just soaked it up like a sponge. Um, was in a great forum with like experience, amazing people, and like the chapter was growing, and it was amazing. But then that enabled that the like it's like those growth minded people are doing other things too, right? It's like though they are looking to expand, they're looking to learn, looking to get better, and like hanging around people like that, good things happen. um so it's like walking around Thailand in, yeah, 2 a.m., and like just like talking about business ideas with other people from EO around the world. It's like the memories that like I'll never forget. Just like Savannah, Georgia, hazy. Alcohol helps a lot, but it's not necessary. I've toned back my drinking over the years. So that was pre-kid. I said yes to everything. I had the flexibility. I had some cash. I was able to do these things, and the business wasn't intense back then, right? Like I should have been running a more professional team, but we weren't. But because of that, I had freedom to go travel, right? It's like, what you don't have in time. Um, then kids, right? And like that kind of kids COVID kind of like shut it down. And I felt it internally, like I was craving it. But then when I started, I like went to one conference and I was just tired. I was like asleep by 7:30. I was like, but now finally we got some help around the house. And I'm like back out there, and it feels really good. I'm like back in learning mode, and like and soak it all up mode.
Yeah, because
Hey
it's
Kyle.
yeah, I like try and hide her as she walks by. Yeah, I'm trying to get her on the podcast. She keeps turning me down. But it's funny because like I'll go to like events and put myself out there, and like I feel like 60, 70% of the time you're like, oh my god, what a waste of time. But then you'll have a conversation. You're like, oh wow, that changes everything, or that
It's
opens a
so
door.
interesting.
It's so worth it. But you've done a good job of putting yourself in the right groups where I think that hit rate is significantly higher, right? Because I'm like EO, where you have some sort of qualifier or filter to make sure it's the right people. And I love the thought of how can you be the dumbest person or the least experienced person in the room? Then you're really kind of winning.
I And it's interesting you say that, because I mean I look at you and see a natural networker. Like you've got this thing, right? It's like, yeah. So it's the grass is always greener.
Yeah, the podcast is like a forced networking thing, which I like, and like
Hmm.
I do some like of the teaching through ANA where I'll travel to locations and tech stars, but I'm horrible with conferences and events. You're so good at that. So but no man, that's super impressive. All right, so I'm gonna give you. I got to put a limit on you because I need to keep my confidence kind of high. But so Adam gets to like I wouldn't say complain. I don't know if I'm too hard on myself. I don't know. Maybe I don't have
Yeah.
enough self awareness, but we do these updates once a month where you kind of go the highs and lows of the business. And like anybody, you look at the negative. So he gets to hear me kind of bitch and moan. And you always have good thoughts. So I don't know, I'll give you a couple minutes. But, you know, if you're me, what am I doing wrong? what should I do differently? And this is non-gestalt. Feel free to
Oof.
like rail into me. If it gets too bad, we'll just edit it and we won't go live with it and I won't talk to you ever again,
Let's
but go for
go.
it.
First off, I want the audience to know that Jim is a savage, right? And I think that like there will be moments where you'll take the mask off, right? And maybe it's like maybe you're like I haven't played basketball with you, but I'm assuming this is like you like game 6 basketball. Like there's moments like there, and I'm just like I want that. I want more of that. Like, and I don't know if that's like you got the Okie like or Kansas like chill vibe, but like there's moments where you're just a savage. I'm like fuck yeah, like that's the dude. Um, yeah, more of that. I don't know if like if there's a nickname for it. Like, do your
I'll
friends
be
have a
honest,
nickname when you
now that
go?
you say like you have the murder entity, I like really leaning into savage. But yeah, I do like to think I'm a nice guy, but like I'm very competitive, but it's
Yeah.
not like, oh, I'm gonna kill somebody, but it's more of like I I I think I should be at a much different level than I am. So it's like competitive
Mhm.
within myself, if that makes sense.
And then the I think you've got there's something around like shooting the shot, like just get it out there, like because like just like it's like we're saving it up. Oh, this launch is going to be amazing, and we're putting all these like emotions around it, and then you do the launch, and it's like, okay, no, I'm still going to have to iterate. Like you were going to have to iterate if you just did it 3 months ago, and like we
I know. I hated looking you in the eye, be like, "Yeah, we're not launching this month, but maybe next month." I was like trying not to
I'm
look
like,
at you
just
across the
fucking
room.
launch it. And I have to do the same thing to myself. Like, I am embarrassed by the stuff I put out there sometimes. But like, then in a week later, there's a tweak or I get some feedback on there. And I think Jim pivots better too. Once it's out there, he like you're faster at iterating, and you like maybe it's like you do conversion rate optimization or something. But there needs to be data for that. And I see so many entrepreneurs that are like waiting for this magical moment that never comes for like this big push, this big launch, this big something versus like this iterative launch that the internet enables now. It's like nothing is set in stone. That's the beauty of it. Like we get to change any landing page, any ad. Like these aren't we're not doing Super Bowl commercials that need to get locked in 3 months before and you don't get to change. Like, oh yeah, that Facebook ad sucked. Okay, I'm gonna change it. And like that's marketing these days. And like yes, start with a good foundation and level that up, but that just means you'll have to iterate less.
Yeah.
But be a bigger dick is what I'm saying.
No,
So
I love it. And you know what? It's kind of funny. Like, I'm a person my whole life, I just hated confrontation. It's like, oh, there's a problem. I'll just run to that side of the building and I can avoid confrontation all day. Being a business owner, if you don't like confrontation, it's probably not the right
we're
seat for you to sit in. Oh my Lord, it happens all the time, but it's been really good where I actually feel like it forces you to lean into it and even tackle it before it blows up, which I would avoid for so long.
same.
But that kind of goes to being like a savage and just going for it. And I think that's a muscle I've had to build up.
And there's a difference, there's a difference between being an asshole and then being stern and here's what I need or here's what the business needs. And those are different. You could be a nice guy, right? But we're just be a quality human. It's like that's the goal, right? Like, is the goal to be a nice person or is the goal to be a quality human? And if there's something the business needs that I'm supporting 100 mouths, right? Like, so when you feel that pressure, it's like let's use the example like negotiating with a vendor, right? Every dollar that we're able to negotiate with the vendor is our money I could pay the employees. Now, yes, some of that gets filtered down into net profit margin too, right? So that's better for me, but it also means a bigger pool for the employees. So however you want to think of it, if you're a solopreneur, like these are skills to learn now before it becomes like too late, or it's never too late, but these are skills to work on. I wish I would have done earlier.
Dude, that's such good advice. And especially when you look at it from that big picture. Because it's playing the long game. It's not about being nice, but yeah, being a good human, good business owner, which in the short term, that could be doing tough and hard things.
Mhm.
Um, for people who don't know, Adam is also my life coach. So this is like a free
No,
session for
you do not
me.
want me as your
So,
life
so
coach.
oh man, that's
I
awesome.
just spent the weekend in Las Vegas watching football, so maybe not the best life coach.
Yeah. Wait, did you come out on top? What was like gambling wise? Are we in the
You
green or
know,
the red?
you always come out on top if
Absolutely.
you go to Vegas with friends.
Yeah, there you go. ROI positive. So it sounds like
So
just
a great learning out of that. I've got a friend who had a huge exit out of their company, and um, this is like next, and we all go to Vegas, and we're all business owners. Like we're doing fine. We could all pay, but this person like enjoys treating friends, and it's that balance of like we don't want it to be a thing, but we also want to let them treat us if they want to, if they get joy out of it. So
yeah.
it's next level stuff. It's pretty
I
awesome.
love having these like mini moments of bawling, even if it's like I'm gonna tip this person big at the restaurant tonight. Like, have you had some mini moments of like bawling like that where you can like help out friends and family? Like, because you're super kind and generous with your stuff, but I don't know if anything sticks out.
Our forum went through this phase where we all read Die with Zero, and that really resonated with a lot of us. And I think one of those moments that stands out, cousin's wedding in Napa, and like everyone was like, all the cousins were on the WhatsApp thread. Were like, I'm staying here, and it's $62 a night, and here I'm like, I just threw down baller VRBO spot with the bocce court in the back and a hot tub and then everyone came together. It was the place, and we cooked breakfast, and everyone just hung out and enjoyed and like looked around like this is why I did this, and it satisfied it, and it was amazing.
Dude, that's all. Yeah, and I love when it's in experiences. You know what I mean? Rather
Hmm.
than like, oh, here's this thing. But
Yeah. It, I'm cheap when it comes to things. Becky pushes. I was gonna get the cheap rower for 700. She's like, just get the good rower, and I do use it, but that's where I'm cheap on things.
yeah, well, you've already called me out for like getting the rad power bike and then getting the $11 lock.
That's because it's going to get stolen in Seattle.
Yeah, that was a bad move. That was
I
a
like
bad
your
move.
message yesterday. Could I lock up next to your bike? Could you use your lock on my bike?
Well, I bought a nice one, but it broke. I couldn't use it. I was like, God, I'm gonna give me so much trash. But anyway, I promise I'm gonna get the $80 lock.
There we go.
But no, man, that's awesome. So, what one question I always like to ask is, what is the nicest thing anyone's done for you in your career?
Um, I think so. In the beginning of my career, I was getting started on Amazon, and like there weren't a lot of groups out there, or if there was, I wasn't in a mindset to find them. And I was like, these are my secrets. I'm not sharing them with anyone. And then I got around people that were sharers first, and they were winning as a result. Like they were growing it. Like they were sharing their secrets. Other people were coming to them with secrets, and like everyone was just free flowing. So I think getting introduced to that concept of abundance versus scarcity has been a life altering change for me. I think the nicest thing anyone could have ever done.
That's so true. Because, like, especially in the early days, you're just like clawing for something. When people are like, "Hey, here's some stuff," it can like transform careers, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, man, that
Be the
that
be the
that's
be the
cool.
dude who shares. Like if you've got some media buying a hack, yes, use it, but they're like, share it with other people that are sharing with you, and like get a mastermind going, get other abundant thinkers going, and then you've got 10x the stuff coming back to you that you're giving in the world. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's like playing the long game. I feel like karma is real. Like it'll come back and help you tenfold. But
Hmm.
so what companies or brands are you into right now? Obviously, Rad is our favorite one right now. Like I'm interested. Like, what are things that like you're into that's inspiring you?
Physical products, like I had the first Android. I literally still have it. I was an Android fanboy for forever, and I was like, that was a hill I would die on. Apple's pretty good. I got all Apple stuff now. iPhone, a Mac Mini, an iPad Pro. Like iPad Pro with the paper like protector and the pencil. You don't need a notebook. Like people get a Jim. I've got your notebook. I'm not giving it back. Just go get an
Yeah,
iPad Pro.
Adam has my notebook and has all my like secrets to success, and you
Or
won't give it back.
abundance. I'm just gonna live tweet it.
Just publish it. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, it's like yes, to maybe they're not like innovating as much as like when Steve Jobs was here with like new categories, but like they operate at such a high level. It's pretty
I
awesome.
know. Yeah, I see you with that thing. It's pretty impressive. And then what like we're both like dads of two. Like what has being a dad, what has it taught you as like a business owner as far as like either perspective or just how to run things when you have a finite amount of time?
So okay, I've been thinking about this. I was going to tweet it. Make sure to tag Alex Hormozy and More Plates, More Dates, dude, in this segment because they were like interviewing each other, or he was interviewing Alex, and they got to a point and really bummed me out because they were talking about like I'm working on my business and like I don't have time for a kid, and like first of all, it's like the world would be better with like smart people reproducing, right? It's like that's just the idiocracy kind of thing, right? Like stupid people are having more kids, smart people are having less kids, and like you see it with your friend groups and like everyone sees it, right? So there's that. But then there's the I did not know efficiency. I did not know drive. I did not know fire in my fucking belly until I had a kid. I thought I was good. Like I'm motivated. And I would if you would ask everyone, it kicks it up to 11. Like there is a primitive drive that gets activated. Literally like the first week bringing the kid home, I'm Becky comes in. I'm like hacking away at the computer, like starting another company at like 1 a.m. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know. I can't
I
help it."
gotta
Like,
provide for my family. That's what I gotta
yes,
do.
like I need like we got the cave. I need to go kill a wildebeest and bring it back to the cave. Like there is some next level that is you can't describe it until you feel it. It's like, all right, here we go.
Dude, I totally agree. It's like three things. One, you're so efficient because you're like, guess what? I have to be out the door at 5:12 to pick up this kid on time.
Yep.
That's one. The second is like you don't sweat the BS. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't have time for drama because there's a million other fires burning. But I had the same thing. Like I like after bringing our first girl home, you're just like, oh, I've got to provide. Like this business
Yeah.
has to thrive and be able to run without me if I go away. So it's yes, you're losing some hours in the day, but what you're gaining in perspective and everything else is just like insane. So,
How much more efficient are you? Like, if you had an hour back before kids versus an hour now,
oh my
what
god,
is it? A 4x? Is it a 6x efficiency?
I think it is because I remember like I like kind of like think I'm working. I remember like going through the internet, maybe looking and finding stuff like, okay, now I need to like buckle down and like do deep work for 37 minutes. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. But well, dude, Adam, this has been so fun. If people want to find more about what you're doing and what you're up to, where should they go?
Yeah. So Adam Weiler on Twitter. Get me there. Get all my insights and my unofficial Twitter war with Jim to see who can go more viral and get more followers. Right now, you got me. So
Yeah.
come
By the
on.
way, we were like talking in our WhatsApp, which annoys me because we're not in Slack. And I said something, which maybe was funny. Like, dude, you should tweet that. And I tweeted it. Literally got one like, and it was you. I was like, you're sabotaging this. So, yeah,
I'm
Twitter's hard.
sabotaging the algo. I'm a
Yeah.
Twitter cooler.
Yeah.
Adam Weiler. I don't know. I think our new email format is like adam.weiler@implicit.co. Maybe. Just yeah. Hit me up.
When
Hit
this
me up
comes out.
anytime. Yeah, if I can help in any way. If you're like starting your journey, come correct with a specific question. Don't just be like, how do I Amazon or how do I start an agency? Like, fuck that. But if you've got a specific question you're hung up on, what do I do with this? It's like I'm happy to help people like who take that step. Like, yeah, that's my give back. I don't, there's everyone should have a charity or a cause that they go to. I'm here to help ADD entrepreneurs get a little focus in their life because I've been there.
That's right, and he'll give you the tough love if you guys need it. He gave me some tough love.
Shoot your shot. Just shoot your shot.
Be a savage.
Nothing is irreversible. Two-way doors and one-way doors. Like nothing's irreversible.
Or trademarking, not reversible.
Jim,
okay,
you see that hair? That hair, that needs to be out there. Look at that. Go get that pomade live, bro.
I mean, and I'm trying manufacturing. Well, it's a whole nother podcast. Awesome. Adam, thank you, man.